Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, landlords will be allowed to evict tenants once again when pandemic protections end later this month. The state government is resisting calls to extend the measures as it tries to strike a balance with both sides.
Since March last year, rental tenants have been shielded from eviction under COVID support measures. Now those protections are set to expire at the end of the month.
The Tenants' Union strongly believes that the government needs to extend the moratorium until the end of March.
A move the union argues would bring Tasmania into line with other states. Landlords want it gone, with claims some tenants are skipping rent.
At least $250,000, $300,000 is still owed to landlords. My expectation would be that it actually be higher than that, closer to the $500,000 mark.
$2.5 million has been given to landlords and tenants by the state government. Support packages were swiftly announced in the wake of the pandemic, but times are changing.
We will not at this stage be looking at extending those protections after the 31st of January unless the situation changes here in Tasmania.
Others are still making up their minds.
I think the jury's out as to whether or not the eviction notice needs to be extended.
Labor instead questioning why the government hasn't released overdue public housing data, among other figures.
It's critical now that we have an update of this information that's nearly 6 months old.
It's due to be released approximately around the 15th of January. We're not hiding anything.
The numbers will likely make a sobering read. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Another Tasmanian state service worker has been stood down following allegations of sexual misconduct. The claim against an employee from the state's south has been referred to police. No detail has been provided on the person's age, gender or employer. The state government has reaffirmed being stood down is not a sign of wrongdoing. While the Devonport Cup was by and large a success, the racing was marred by the death of a horse in race 3. Tom Johnson has more details. Tom, what caused the horse's death?
Well, Kim, according to Tas Racing, the horse died of a heart attack during the race, which caused it to collapse on the track. The horse was named Douglas, a 4-year-old gelding trained by Adam Trinder and ridden today by Kyle Maskill. This was Douglas in the mounting yard before the race, the Kevin Sharkey Maiden, which ran at around 1:30. The Trinder stable is understood to be devastated by the loss, and it is certainly something no one wants to see, Kim, especially on a day which otherwise went to plan.
True. Thank you very much, Tom. Tom Johnson there. Well, one of the world's most lucrative art prizes will return to Hobart after coronavirus forced its cancellation in 2020. Artists are welcoming back the Hadley's Art Exhibition after many were unable to showcase their work last year.
Putting the finishing touches on another masterpiece. Artist Michelle Bolter busy at work in her Salamanca studio, looking to the future after an eventful 2020.
Although I was challenged in a broader sense, I also felt very grateful for what I was able to do.
But she'll soon put down her brush to judge one of the country's biggest painting competitions. After being cancelled by the pandemic, the Hadley's Art Prize is returning, offering a winner's cheque of $100,000.
We're looking for depictions of the landscape, but we interpret that quite broadly, so really connections with place and reflections on what landscape means to individual artists.
A work that speaks of authenticity, a sense of connection to place, to environment.
A welcome return after coronavirus shut down galleries and studios across the world, cutting off opportunities for artists to ply their trade.
Artists are really craving that appreciation of everyone else's work and of the general public.
Organisers happy to help in the recovery.
The prize money is life-changing for any artist, and this art prize began as a gift to the art community, so it's really wonderful that we can offer that again.
The tumultuous nature of last year predicted to feature heavily in this year's entries.
There's certainly been a lot of material to work with and space for artists to reflect.
Winners will be announced in July. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
A popular tourist route on the northwest coast is celebrating a decade of success with some exciting plans on the horizon. The Cradle to Coast Tasting Trail is looking for ways to grow its reach, having guided hungry and thirsty tourists through the region for the past 10 years.
Though they're located off the beaten path, RAILTON's Seven Sheds Brewery has more than enough experimental beers to pull in curious tourists.
The Smoke and Joseph was inspired by a trip to Poland, and the beer was inspired by a style called Grodziski, which is a lower alcohol wheat beer, and the wheat malt is smoked before the beer is made.
I did not know you could get a beer to taste like oak chips. It's amazing. I'm going to go home with a 4-pack of those.
They're also part of the Cradle to Coast Tasting Trail. For the past 10 years, it's guided tourists to the region's best wineries, farms and more.
Once they've got the map, they start ticking off the places they go around and visit, and it's got such a variety of different types of food and beverage experiences.
The recent COVID break giving them the opportunity to undergo a brand refresh and plan for the next decade.
We've used that downtime to rethink what the trail is, what it can be. We're looking to sort of polish up the visual identity of the brand.
Being that we are a relatively young wine region in the big scheme of things, we rely on Tamar Valley Wine Route, Wine Tasmania, Tourism Tas to help support some of that visitation.
Part of the trail's future is a planned collaboration with the Tamar Valley Wine Route. The two organisations are hoping to build off each other's success and firmly plant Tasmania's reputation as a premium culinary destination.
Take your time and really venture through those regions and delve a bit deeper to taste the food and taste the wine, and take time as you're driving to soak it in rather than rushing.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
And back in our home kitchens, there's something fishy going on as Aussies are cooking up more and more seafood. December sales rose by 30% nationwide, with the public rushing out to support the embattled fishing industry.
There's a lot of customers that are definitely chasing local. I think they're happy with Australian. Like, obviously people would rather Tasmanian fish if we can, but we also sell a lot of species that we simply don't catch in Tasmania.
Seafood Industry Australia says crayfish were the most popular pieces, along with rock oysters and prawns. And Tasmania's female jockeys and harness drivers will have a guaranteed income while pregnant. They're currently barred from racing past their first trimester. To help cover costs, Tas Racing's new maternity assistance program will now bridge the gap from the beginning of their second trimester until they're eligible for federal government assistance.
This will really give young girls confidence that there is a career path with some support should they want to have a family.
It'll bring more female jockeys into the sport as well, knowing that they're going to have that time and support during maternity leave. I think it's going to be a really good idea.
Those eligible will be paid a rate similar to their average weekly wage. Still with racing, and the crowds might have been restricted, but the Cup was back. Sprayton putting on its finest fashion and fun for this year's feature of the coastal calendar. Although organisers took a financial hit, they were keen to keep the event running.
The safest bet of the day is finding the Penguin Tour trackside at the Cup.
We do it every year, why not? It's our day.
The group from Melbourne's been coming for 10 years now.
We'd swim across if we had to.
And they loved what they saw. A sun-drenched day made you feel like a flutter.
You know, a couple of winners, I should, hopefully get a bit of form going.
More invested than most are Shai Vorum and Bree Smith, the partners of jockeys Anthony Darmanin and Craig Newitt.
I've personally had a fall myself. I was a jockey myself and had a fall, but I know Craig's in control. I know he's got it all under control. He knows what he's doing. He's very, very good.
It does get very nerve-wracking, but it's good just to see him safely come home.
In the Glamour Stakes, the judges swooned over Devonport's own Vinnie Reid.
I made it just from local fabric shop and then the fascinator as well, just being creative, I guess.
While in the couple stakes,
Israel forced us to enter.
You forced it.
But no.
They'll both be claiming it now. Turns out they won, and the best dressed duo even helped out the best dressed man. Canadian-born RAPHAEL Reynolds might need to split the prize.
He actually loaned me his shirt. I believe that's why I won it, so I gotta big up my boy Eddie.
The fish socks surely helped too. Normally it would be shoulder to shoulder in here, but luckily crowd limits haven't taken away from the fun of the day. In fact, some punters even like having a bit more room to breathe.
I actually like it, not so many people to be honest. It's a bit more chilled and relaxed, yeah.
Crowds were capped at 50% or 2,500 people.
We'll take a financial hit this year, but we're prepared to wear that for the patrons and our supporters that come every year.
Something punters certainly appreciate. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News. And Newhart has made it back-to-back Devonport Cups, while jockey Craig Newitt has claimed an incredible 7th crown at Devonport, a new record for the Cup. The Leanne Gaffney-trained gelding ran clear of Galway Girl and White Cliffs at the close.
Galway Girl, Newhart takes the cup again. What a grand performance.
Newhart was the favourite, paying $2.90 for the win. Very hard to beat there, Kim.
Good evening. 25 was the state's top today in Launceston, 20 across Hobart and Devonport, Burnie 23. Flinders Island and Strawn 19, 15 at Lyowini and 20 across Low Head and St Helens. On the close-up shows cloud extending over most of the state through the day. Further out, cloud associated with thunderstorms covers most of the country apart from Victoria and WA where skies are mostly clear. Tomorrow shows a high pressure system centred over the Bight with ridges extending over Tasmania and Western Australia. East to south easterly winds tomorrow 15 to 25 knots, swells up to 4 metres in the west and south and below 1 metre in the north. Tomorrow's forecast now mostly sunny across Hobart and New Norfolk, Cygnet 23. In the north 25 about Launceston and Campbelltown, Devonport partly cloudy. Burnie and Strawn tomorrow 21, a possible early shower at Smithton. 20 across at Helens and Swansea and Fingal, a sunny 23. The UV forecast is extreme across the state with the sun setting at 8:50 p.m. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast, Friday fine apart from possible afternoon showers in the east. Saturday fine apart from possible morning showers in the east with light winds, and Sunday fine with light winds and afternoon sea breezes. Capital cities 38 in Perth tomorrow, Melbourne cloud clearing and Sydney 23 expecting a shower or two. And currently Hobart partly cloudy and 17, Launceston cloudy and 22, Devonport mostly cloudy and 19. That's all for weather tonight, Kim.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Well, that is your news for this Wednesday evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. On behalf of the entire 7 Tasmania News team, good night.